guess he's going to cue us in. I made myself a grilled cheese, and then I went to bed.
I love grilled cheese sandwiches.
Hi.
I love them.
Yes. Hello, Radiant Souls. I'm your host, Angela Ahimsa, and you've tuned in to Feed Your Chakras, broadcasting live from Toronto and streaming globally on Jess TV, Roku, Meta, and the NCG television network. And today's guest is an incredible woman. Her name is Helen Pach Goldstein, and she is an author, a world traveler, a skin alchemist, and affectionately known as the renegade JewBu. And her story is one of resilience, transformation, and unapologetic authenticity. In this conversation, we're going to explore the beauty of becoming and the art of embracing change, living boldly, and finding freedom through self-expression and awareness. And Helen will share some insights of her upcoming book, the wisdom she's gained from a life well-traveled, and how she continues to inspire others to live vibrantly at every age. Thank you so much for being here with me, Helen.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, so I just wanted to let the viewers know that Helen and I are actually going to be working together. I have the honor of helping her publish her upcoming book, and it is incredible. So we're going to share a little bit about that. But just to start us off, Helen, what inspired you to write this book, and what message do you most hope that your readers will take away?
Well, first of all, I want to say that I started writing the book 10 years ago, so it took me a while to get going with it. And really, that's a good question. I would say the word is resilience. As a friend of mine said so correctly, I'm the kind of, the doll that you just punch and it comes back, and you just punch and it comes back.
Who's punching you?
You remind me of that. You remind me of that doll. And it's in my DNA. My parents had their own stuff, their own crazy stuff. So I think that, there's a saying I love, don't sweat the small stuff. And mostly it's small stuff. Mostly it is. We all have big stuff. My sister died. We've all had really big stuff. But it's really a question of how you choose to deal with it. Mm-hmm. And I know that sounds trite, and it sounds like, what do I know? But, I'm heading into my 8th decade. I've been around for a while, and I've had my ups and downs and blah, 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 blah. But it's a decision that you can make about what you're going to do. And, you and I are going to be launching our books together soon. And I'm not going to pretend that I don't have anxiety around it. I do. But it's recognizing it. It's saying, okay, I'm feeling anxious, and rightly so. I should, it's not crazy, and I'm not overreacting, and this too shall pass. So I use that a lot, like whatever I'm feeling, not shoving it away, but looking at it. Okay, examining it. What are the reasons? Am I having a bad hair day? Is my lipstick the wrong color? I can do that. I can fix that really quickly. Is somebody harassing me? You know what I mean? That will need a little bit more energy. But most of what we deal with, we can, most of the stuff we can handle, most of it. And, you and I both had our rise, we talked about that. And look at us. Hello. Pretty damn good.
Yeah. I think it's natural, for you to have those kind of butterflies or anxiety, whatever it is you want to call it, because you're stepping into a new chapter of yourself. And with that, it's almost a little bit of an ego death, right? You're stepping into the unknown, but this is where the evolution happens.
Yeah. And recognizing it, and here's the big one. This is the big one, is not judging yourself. Mm-hmm. It's not helpful.
Yes.
As long as you're honest with yourself, not judging yourself. And the one that I love is this too shall pass, because it all does. Bad hair days, you just need.
The only constant is change, as they say.
What is the difference between a good haircut and a bad haircut? 2 weeks, or 3 weeks. So it changes. Now, there's things that we can't control. deaths of loved ones. Those are things that we can't, but we know we're all gonna go.
Mm-hmm.
So just coming to terms with that. At some point, if you would like, I'll tell you a funny story about my mother and her last days. If you'd like me to, it's actually
Sure.
interesting. You want me to?
Well, yeah.
Okay. So my mother.
In suspense now.
Okay. So my mother spent her last 10 years in bed. She broke both hips. My sister died just before that of a botched, she had cancer and it was misdiagnosed. And, we had a whole series of really awful stuff. Excuse me. And I went to visit my mother with a friend of mine. And she at that point, I think she was 70 pounds. And she said to me, she had a strong Jewish accent, Polish Jewish. And she said, I don't want to die. I said, you're going to die. She said, I don't want to die. I'm not ready to die. I don't want to die. I said, I'm here to tell you, you listen to me, you are going to die. And she clutches my hand. She looks at me. Do you know something? Like somebody, the doctor told me she was going to die. I said, what do you mean? She said, did someone tell you something? I said, no, Mom, I just know you're going to die. Because we all die. Oh, that's what you mean. And then she started laughing. And she said, you're so eccentric. How did I get a daughter like you? And I said, you're lucky. She died a week later.
Aww.
In her sleep.
Well, that's
yeah.
Way to go.
And I'll tell you honestly, Angela, we all did a happy dance for her. It was time. I mean, she lied to us for years. We thought she was younger than she was. We found out later she was 93.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's time. It's inevitable. And spending 10 years in bed, she loved Oprah. That was her favorite. So, yeah, it was just interesting to have that conversation with her. Like she was surprised.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like I knew something.
We all think we're invincible. So, speaking of your Jewish heritage, you call yourself a renegade JewBu, and I actually had somebody even ask me what that meant. So, what does that identity mean to you, and how has it evolved?
That is I love that question. Thank you. Will you give me a moment? I just need to clear my throat.
There we go. I did too.
Thank you so much. So, my parents were Holocaust survivors, both of them. Mm-hmm. And I won't go into that, but just that they were. So, you either had parents that just doted on you or they were nuts. And I had the nuts ones. Mm-hmm. And I never really did the Jewish thing. I grew up in a Jewish ghetto where, a lot of Holocaust survivors took their children because it felt safe. But I never went to synagogue unless I absolutely had to. And then at 15, I said, I'm not going anymore. I never did any of that. Half my friends weren't Jewish. I went to a school where it was Jewish. And I had Gentile friends there. And I was in a detention a lot and got into trouble a lot and barely got out of high school. I never went to college. I didn't do all the things that Jewish girls of my, when I grew up was supposed to do. You were supposed to get married, you were supposed to live in the suburbs, all of that, right? I got married. I got married, but I did not live in the suburbs, and I didn't do any of that at all. So I am Jewish for sure. And, my kids grew up with Tibetan lamas staying with us and Tai Chi masters and drag queens. And I mean, they did not grow up as typical. I mean, I never wore an apron and we never went to synagogue unless somebody died or there was a reason to go. I just didn't do it. And just not to be nasty or anything, it just didn't resonate with me. So I am Jewish. I'm definitely Jewish. But what really resonates for me and has for over 50 years is Buddhism. And I spent a lot of time in India. I trekked through India. I backpacked. And I was not young then. I was in my mid-30s and went to all the ashram and met the great masters. And I did all that. And I had a practice. And I sold real estate. I was just a kick-ass real estate agent. And my clients, I called them heads with bread. They were people who, like us, okay, people like us, only they had money. And, they had money. And I never dealt with bankers, or even I could have made a lot more money than I did, but I chose who I dealt with. And some of them were Buddhist, some of them weren't, but there was that, that connection that I didn't really have that many Jewish clients. So I really embraced Buddhism many, many decades ago. I meditate. I've been to Tibet. I've done all that. I've traveled a lot. And Buddhism does it for me. Yet I am Jewish. Mm-hmm. And yet, so it's really funny. Sometimes I'll go out somewhere. I was walking on the street a few days ago during the high holidays. I never went to synagogue or didn't do any of that. And these guys came up to me, these Jewish guys who were in the hats the whole bit, and the guy said to me, "Excuse me, are you Jewish?" And I looked at him and I go, "How do you know? How did you know?" He said, "I know." And he hands me this thing that, and then some candles to light, which was very nice. And I gave it, I gave everything away. Mm-hmm. So I have a daughter. My twin daughters live in California. And one is married to a guy who's pretty observant, and they keep kosher. And, they never, my kids never grew up with that. So I think she likes that. I think that she likes that. I have twin 16-year-old grandsons. They live that observant life, and she never grew up with it. So it's the balance. Like, I don't practice it, but I acknowledge that I'm culturally Jewish. And I know a few Jewish words, a few Yiddish words that I've taught my Gentile friends, who have Jewish partners. I said, tell them this word. You're a schmuck. Oh yeah, that's a good one. When they're misbehaved. So that's what I mean by I'm a JewBu. And I've definitely had, and I'm not, please don't hear this as arrogance. It's not. I've had one of the most interesting lives, mainly because I just travel a lot and my friends are really interesting. You and I have become friends. Like, I consider you a friend now, not just somebody who's doing a job for me. Like, I really feel that.
Yeah, so we do have a lot in common.
We do. And we women are so blessed, Angela, because I was at a party. I was at a photography at a gallery. Sylvan Tiedemann, who is an amazing photographer. She's probably Canada's most amazing female photographer. She's amazing. And I'm looking around, and there's so many women that I connected to, and women are okay to fall in love with each other because of the heart thing. Like, yes, we can compete. I'm not that. I don't compete with women.
I feel like imbalanced women compete. Like, when you're, I don't want to say insecure, but when you're not, in love with yourself, then other people's shining or their self-love becomes almost like, it's like a mirror, it's like a threat.
Yeah. Do you have friends that you compete with, or people? Do you have that?
No, I don't like to compete. Like, I like to, we all stand in our lights, and I like to help lift people up. I feel that if it's if it's a sport, then yeah, you know what I mean? Like, there's a time and a place for competition, but I still even think that that's more of just shining and expressing your truth. Like, I don't want to compete with everybody. I hope that we all succeed, and shine in our truth. You don't need to compete because you naturally attract what it is that isn't for you. It's not trying to claim anything, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that you're probably, I mean, I don't know you. I know you in a business sense, and we've had our dinner together and got to know each other. And, you know, obviously I like you, and I like, no, I do. I think you're great. I think you are. I'm not saying that, you know, I don't say it to everybody, but I think you're great. I'm so impressed with the work that you've done, the covers that you've done. You're amazing. And just your how smart you are with business and how you can weave things, you know, here's the situation we have. Okay, look, we'll weave it into this, and, you know, just, yeah, I'm really impressed with you. But I think that we women allow ourselves to fall in love with other women in that heart way.
Oh, yeah.
I feel bad that men don't, because it would be so good for them.
You know what? I don't necessarily agree. I do think that some men, more spiritually or awakened men,
Yes.
they are actually now holding like the brotherhood, you know, and the brother circles where they support each other and, you know, help heal those wounds of suppression where they weren't allowed to have emotions because it's not masculine and stuff. So I do think it's changing, but it's definitely, there's more awakened women, I believe, than men at this point.
Yeah. Which is why they burned us at the stake. You know, no, you can't be better than us.
Years ago.
We're still doing it in a different way, right? But we got a couple of the worst ones, you know.
At least we're writing books about it now.
Yeah.
To inspire the future generations.
Yeah. But yeah, so I feel very blessed that at Scylla's beautiful photography show, I met amazing women who, you know, who said, I love your cup, but whatever, you know what I mean? It was just really, and it was mostly women anyways, but that's such a blessing that we have. And I really wish more women would allow themselves that. I missed you. Yeah. I don't compete. I'm not going to be friends with somebody I compete with, or who's competing with me.
I agree. Do you think that women today are afraid of freedom? Because I know that you and me, we're both very like free spirited, and that's kind of led us through life.
Right.
But not everybody's like us. So do you think that they're afraid of freedom, or maybe just what they have to kind of sacrifice, or the price of freedom? What is it that you think?
I think it depends on where you're, I mean, I have to be really careful how I say this, but, you know, I think it depends on how you were brought up and where you were brought up. I think that in the Middle East, you don't have much of a choice.
We were both misfits.
Sorry?
We were both misfits.
Yeah. I think it depends, but I think they're afraid of freedom because they don't know what it means.
It's like
right?
the bird that's afraid of leaving the cage.
Exactly.
Yeah, they don't know what's on the other side.
There's a really interesting story about elephants. I don't know if you know this one.
I have a feeling I know what you're going to say because I just got a hit.
About the chain?
Yeah, the chain, and they don't know that they can be free.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll just say it, you know, from when they were babies, they were chained up. They were only allowed to walk, you know, a few feet, very little movement. And then at some point, the chain is going to break. They're huge. They take the chain off, but the elephant doesn't move because the elephant doesn't know that they can do that. And I think that's a little bit of what's going on around that question that you asked.
Yeah. The elephants don't know their true power.
No.
Okay, wow. So let's bring it back to the book, just because you write with such unfiltered content, and it's like therapy. I think it's going to be really awakening for a lot of women and even men who read it, especially with those punchlines and your anecdotes. And did you ever find that you might be too honest?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And how does that feel?
it's really, I was at a party the other day and this woman wears white sort of beige lipstick and outlines it with brown. So ugly. And she's really attractive. This is a really attractive woman. Mm-hmm. Every time I see her, I want to say, don't wear that, And the last time I said that to somebody, she was pissed off at me. She said, I've been wearing this since I was a teenager. So I have to hold back. Sometimes I really, it's like, I know you didn't ask me my opinion. And I know some of them want to say, then don't give it to me. Mm-hmm. Don't give me your opinion.
You could always frame it as, this color would look so good on you.
Oh, that's
a compliment, right? Flip it around. So it doesn't have to be so direct. It can be a suggestion maybe she never thought of because she's like engaged herself with this brown lipstick.
Oh, it's so ugly. Oh, thank you. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
I'm usually pretty good that way, about being careful how I make a suggestion because I have a strong personality, in case you didn't know.
I had no idea.
We both do. We both do.
Yeah.
That's good. Oh, you know what? So I'll bring one of my light pink lipsticks and say, try this. Mm-hmm. Because I thought of you. Thanks.
Yeah, say like it will so nicely with your coloring or something.
Yes.
Yes. Or something. Yeah.
So it's like, when you see somebody and there's like a blob of fluff on their shirt or something.
I tell if it's something they can remove, I tell them.
Yeah. So what about you? If you saw somebody who, could be gorgeous, but would you say something?
I might. I mean, depending on my relationship with them, and if I knew them, like if I just met them, I'm not going to be like, hey,
no.
But if I did know them, then I would try and suggest it to them. I'd be like, I think that you have such nice skin tone. I think it would go great with this color. I would say something like that. Mind you, if people are blocked, they're going to take that suggestion however they want. Because I actually had a friend who wasn't really sharing like her voice, like she was a singer. And so I was trying to suggest to her because I actually had done some work with her and she wouldn't let me share it. It was 2 years old, It's like I was in the music video and I did fire and I did the costumes and stuff. So I just thought it was a little weird and I understood that it was a block, right? So I was trying to make a suggestion. And then she took it and then like went with it and like started this thing that I was out to like gaslight her and stuff. It was just so not the case. So, I mean, some people are just going to meet that, whatever it is, with the level of understanding or their own perception anyways, despite your intentions or how you frame it. But I was still like doing it as a compliment. Like I said, oh, you have such a beautiful voice. Like that was my intention, because I actually like to lift my friends up. But anyways, yeah. So I mean, sometimes maybe it is better to keep your mouth shut, but I'm just not that person.
Me neither.
Yeah.
Me neither. Somebody once said, I'll never forget this. My ex-husband, we were business partners in real estate. So one of our clients said, because I'm little, right? I'm like 5 feet tall. And
makes me look big.
Yeah, well,
that's actually not even. I guess I was wearing heels when we met. So.
Yeah, I'm little, and so he said, "Oh my God, look how little she is," and he said, "Yeah, but she's got such a big mouth
and a personality."
Yeah, I do. So back to your question, what made me want to write the book? Well, as part of the spiritual quest, I mean, I've got good stories. I mean, I've seen some gurus who, I in the book, I talk about one of the gurus who taught, who was supposed to teach a yoga teacher training at my studio. And it's a really funny story. It's mostly a funny book, okay, mostly, because the stories are completely mental. And I remember sitting with him before, when we first met, and he was a guy, an Italian guy from New Jersey who suddenly became a guru. And he said, I don't know. He said, I'm really confused. And I thought, oh my God, what's he confused about? I started, what's going on? And he said, we had just had this big event where we invited a ton of people for the yoga teacher training. And there were about 40 people in the room. I had a yoga studio, so I've got to mention that. That's important. After I left real estate, I opened up a yoga studio, and it became the largest yoga studio in Canada. I had 56 employees. It was nuts. So I'm sitting with him, and he said, I'm really confused. And I said, what? Like, let me help you. He said, there's so many gorgeous women in the room. I said, yeah. He said, I don't know which one I'm going to sleep with first. I said, you can't. You're not allowed to. You cannot do that. Well, he did. So that, so there's the dichotomy of him being a guru, right? And having that other part, which is inappropriate, wrong, out of integrity. And so I saw both, and the book is about.
Well, there's all ego. That was actually very egoic, and as a guru, you're supposed to be above the ego. So
yeah, exactly. And gurudom really, being a yoga teacher bestows on you this sudden, like, people go, oh yes, which they didn't do when I was a real estate agent. Even though I did really well and I had amazing clients, I mean, I became friends with a lot of them, and I'm still friends with a lot of them. But as a yoga teacher, you're supposed to be on a different level, above it all, and and all of that. So many of them are full of just of themselves.
Yeah.
There's so many. If you're part of that community, which I still am in a way, not as much, but I was. A week, once a week, you'd hear about a guru who was kicked out because he was sleeping with his students. Or
I remember Bikram too. That was a pretty crazy story.
Which one?
Bikram?
Oh, Bikram. Did you ever take a class with him?
No, I didn't. It was actually all of the trials and stuff started around 2016, which is actually when I started studying yoga.
Yeah.
But I was actually going to go for hot yoga, and then all that happened. And it kind of steered my course a little bit. Yeah.
I was in LA for an amazing event, a fundraiser, yoga in the schools. Tara Goober, who is really amazing. So she invited me to come. And I was going to see my kids anyways. And so it was an amazing event. So I thought, okay, I'm going to go take a Bikram class, even though it wasn't something I loved. I'm a Kripalu teacher, which is very soft and loving, and here, let me, like that. It's not harsh. So I went to this class, and there must have been 100 people in the room, and he was sitting on a throne.
Okay, not egoic at all.
Wearing
underwear?
Wearing a bathing suit, and you wish he didn't wear the bathing suit. Trust me, you wish with all your heart. And I happened to be, there were a lot of movie stars and stuff, and Christian Slater was right next to me. And he was amazing. He was so helpful because I was like, I was going to pass out from the heat. But what was astonishing to me was how nasty the man was. I don't know if he's still nasty. You're too fat, get out. Yelling at people and insulting them. Angela Ahimsa, there was no Ahimsa there. Not even a molecule. I mean, arrogant, nasty, and I don't gossip. I'm not that person.
No. I mean, the testimonies all state the same, so it's
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
And what he said at one point, I remember a friend of mine who was working with him said, he said, it's really terrible. All these women want to sleep with me. Same as this guy says to me 10 years later or whatever. And I'm not saying they're all like that. I've met some amazing. One of my dearest friends is a Tibetan Lama. He is clean, pure, beautiful, amazing. But then you got the other ones. Well, so my book was that, the dance.
Yeah, so you reinvented yourself more times than most people change nail polish.
Yes.
Do you have a secret to starting over without losing yourself?
Yes.
Okay, let's hear it.
So, okay, so there's a song. It's like from the 20s. And I have the worst voice, so please forgive me, but I'm going to tell you, I'm going to just sing you one line of it. I pick myself up, I dust myself up, and I start all over again. And if you can sort of think about that, I pick myself up, I dust myself off, and I start all over again. Because often when we move from one career to another one, it's because I'm done. I actually counted, I've had 6 careers. And I have now, I work for a company out of India, which I'll tell you about separately.
Okay.
It's another career. But then the other one that I love quoting, do you know Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers? You know, they were like this big, amazing dance duo. And Fred had everybody was saying he was the best dancer in the world, and he is, he's an amazing dancer. But when Ginger and Fred danced together, she was wearing high heels and having to dance backwards a lot. He led her, and he wasn't wearing high heels, so she's wearing high heels and dancing backwards. So as women, you know, we do that a lot, right? We just have to remember that we can, and that we can pick ourselves up and dust ourselves off. And changing careers, I mean, it was a big one for me to leave real estate because I was making a lot of money, a lot.
I feel like the money can be a trap for a lot of people, you know?
Yeah.
And just to that point, like I do a lot of different things, but I also still kind of do some of them, which is exhausting in some essence because you're using this side of the brain, doing physical stuff. But the beauty in that is I feel that most people, they go through the system, they do the school, and then they get the career, and then they advance in the career, but it's all in the same line.
Yeah.
And so when you experiment or you explore and you diversify your skills, your mindset, your, you know, ability to communicate with people or whatever comes with the territory, you grow and evolve in like so many different ways. And I feel like that is how we actually stay young, is that we're continuing to learn and evolve, not just like become more rigid in this one mindset. No offense to anybody. This is just my own experience and perception on it. But I think that's really beautiful. And I think that's what you touch a lot about, you know, youthfulness and longevity and you know, not obsessing with aging. But I think a lot of that isn't just even the looks. I think that is all the results of the lifestyle of where you continue to nurture that childlike essence of learning and discovery and venturing into the unknown.
Well, it's really funny. I mean, sometimes I think my kids think that I'm the kid and they're the mother. I got some tattoos and they're very concerned, you know, that I'm.
No, what they said about your fingers because you wrote them in the book and it's hilarious.
Oh my God. Well, I got this tattoo for my 70th birthday on impulse. Okay, total. I hadn't planned it. And then I got these in Mexico and this. So one of my daughters said, Mother, do you understand that when you have tattoos on your fingers that people will think that you've just gotten out of jail? And I said, wow, let them. And she just looks at me like, you know, they're like, who's the mother and who's, you know, they're 52. I have twins, so they're 52 years old. And I'll just tell you an excerpt of one thing that happened, and you'll really laugh at this. So I had the book edited by a woman in California. She did a terrible job, didn't do a good job. And so she came, I was leaving to come back to Toronto, and she came to collect some money and to say goodbye to me. She's lovely, but it was the wrong energy. I mean, our beloved Guy Crittenden did. We love him. We love Guy. We love you, Guy. We're going
it's actually his birthday. Yeah, his birthday party.
Right. He did. He is just the most patient, beautiful man. He did such a great job editing and just love him. So anyway, so she came to collect the money. So the woman says to my daughter, the one with the twin daughters, she said, so like, what do you think about your mom living with a hooker and her pimp in Montreal? And my daughter goes, Mother, you lived with a hooker and a pimp in Montreal? I said, yeah, but it was not, it was like Expo 67. I couldn't find a place to live. Somebody suggested it would be a good match. It didn't last for long. And she said, oh my God, oh my God. I said, it was good, it was good. I saw a different part of life.
Yeah.
So, and I do that, you know, unfortunately and fortunately, I do a lot of fire, ready, aim, instead of I fire too quickly and I don't always think of the consequences.
I feel like maybe that's more of you going with the flow and also just
Yeah.
intuition, you know? Sometimes I, you know, will read a book because it was recommended to me or something, but I would never have done it otherwise. But it's usually, I find that when things come to me, they're usually aligned in some way, shape, or form, at least a temporary, you know, passage.
Does it really work? Does it work out mostly?
Yeah, if I feel right about it, like if I feel, it depends on how it feels. Like sometimes people might recommend something because they have their own intentions, but I'll feel that.
Yeah.
You know? But if I feel like it's in alignment or I'm kind of curious or open to it, maybe I won't like open up right away, but I'll still like explore it as an option because you never know where it could lead, right? So
Exactly. Every single
nothing is coincidence.
Yeah, no, every job I've ever had. I moved to Montreal when I was 19, I think, to work for British Airways. And where's Montreal?
Yeah.
And it was during Expo. And I just did it. I mean, there's an opportunity and it's okay, I'm going.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I'd only been on a flight once. And it's just you have to feel like, what does it feel like? And I trust, you know how people say they trust their gut?
Mm-hmm.
I trust my gut. And I know in my gut, you know, in this chakra here, the power chakra,
Mm-hmm.
I know if my gut hurts, if I get like a ugh,
Mm-hmm.
walk away.
Yes.
And if there's a little bit of a flutter, yeah. And so when I don't listen is when I get into trouble, big trouble. But I've learned to listen, and that's a big one.
Beautiful. Okay, so we're kind of coming to the end, so I wanted to touch on a few things before we go. But first, I just wanted to bring up these amazing creams that you make, your Skin Alchemy and Self-Love, where you merge beauty, aging, and authenticity, especially as a glamour that you are.
Glamour.
Yeah, did you want to just let us know a little bit about that and what it does? Because she actually put some on me, and it was really, really nice.
Well, you said you put it on your lips, and your lips just
Yes.
felt amazing.
I actually had really chapped lips. It was around the time when I was doing the Eco Couture fashion show. I just had too much coffee, and I normally drink a lot of water. So I dehydrated it in 2 days. My lips were cracked and actually bled. One of them cracked. So I put on her cream. She literally gave it to me that day, and then it healed the next day.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can tell you about the background that basically a friend of mine looked amazing. I hadn't seen her for 6 months. I said, what are you doing? Your skin looks amazing. And she said she's been using a cream made out of beef fat. And your grandmother or great grandmother, Angela, would do that. She didn't have Procter & Gamble. She would go and get some fat, whether it was pork or whatever.
Well, you also have a vegan variety too, right?
Yeah, I have a vegan variety as well, for sure. But so the cream is made out of Wagyu beef fat, and it's sourced locally. It's grass-fed. It's humanely processed, as they say. So it's Wagyu beef fat and gold and silver colloidal water and all different amazing
and your essential oils that you sourced.
Yeah, amazing frankincense and myrrh from 3 different places. And in the background, I don't know if you can hear it, but I have a machine that's based on Nikola Tesla's work.
Okay.
And so it's zapped with his energy, just zapped.
Mhm.
I'm going to make some more. I'm just making up a new batch.
It's very intentional, and she puts a lot of frequency medicine and love into it. So I just want to credit. What do you use as the base for the vegan version?
Moringa.
Moringa.
Moringa is amazing, and people are just hearing about it now. Moringa
You
cream.
gave me when I had parasites in
Yeah, it's an amazing. So I use moringa cream and moringa oils and different oils that you would know. And the thing I think that's the most healing is the gold and silver colloidal water.
Yeah, that's actually my friend. He's a cancer patient right now. He's doing an independent research study. And that is in the colloidal gold is something that he has to drink. And he is actually he's not doing, radiation or anything. And he says it's horrible to drink, but he's doing a lot of colonics, but it cleans the inside out, but it also goes straight into the skin and cleans that way as well.
Well, the colloidal silver and gold is unusual to have both in one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's usually one
bottle. Mm-hmm. And it was created by a very eccentric doctor, English doctor who lived in Toronto, who just said, I hate the whole medical system, I'm going to become a healer. And he created that, and unfortunately he died a few years ago, and I have bottles and bottles of his stuff, thankfully. But that is one of it's a combination of the Wagyu beef fat, which is extraordinarily healing. You should look it up. Mm-hmm. It's amazing. And the colloidal silver and all the different oils and the energy and all of that. I make it on the full moon.
Yes, she definitely infuses it with intention.
And love.
Yes. So back to the book, because we're running out of time now, and we're doing a launch. We're actually doing our launch together because our books are very different, but also touch on, they have a kind of a similar umbrella of self-help, self-love, self-discovery. So we are doing our launch together on November 13th.
Yeah,
Toronto.
Very exciting.
Yes.
If I could just say something, I want to say that, Angela, I have never met anybody. Well, as I said, my clients were heads with bread, so I had a lot of creatives, a lot of names I'm not going to drop that you would know. You would know who they are. And I have never met anybody as creative as you, who's also as creative in business. You're really smart, you're really savvy, you can see opportunities, and you get it, you understand, and it's amazing to work with you. We decided that we weren't going to be working together, we would be working together, which is play and work. So it's just, so far it's been great. It's been really, she's created a book cover that I sent out to 25, 30 people who I trust, and they're all coming back with, oh my God, this is incredible.
I'm going to post it here in the replay so everybody can see and get a sneak peek of this epicness. We're actually going to make it art so that people can buy it because it's epic. And once you read her book, or you're just the first few chapters, you're going to realize how epic her book is.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That's so kind. Yes, and so she made another version. So we have two versions of it. And here's the extraordinary part. So I said, okay, I've got another version. And I'm getting back 50% of people like the first version, 50% love the second. And it's like, oh my God, oh my God.
But I think the one looking right at the camera is better.
Yeah. But in any case, I've never met anyone, Andy Warhol, yes, he was a business person, saw opportunity, and he was an artist. But you're an anomaly, and it's great to watch you create.
Thank you so much.
Amazing. Yeah. It's really been an honor and a privilege.
Well, likewise, feeling mutual. And I'm so excited about your book. And if you're watching this, you are invited here in Toronto. We're going to be posting the RSVP very shortly, and it's exciting. There's also going to be some recipes from my book, which I'm publishing, which is called The Parasite Purge. And there's going to be entertainment, there's going to be door prizes, and all sorts of fun stuff.
We're going to dance. We're going to have great dance music. Angela, who I don't know if all of you know, is an amazing vegetarian chef. She showed me pictures of what she's going to make. Oh my God. So she's going to be creating some amazing munchies. And yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be I'm really looking forward to it.
I'm excited too. So everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to Feed Your Chakras. What a joy it's been to dive into beauty, the humor, and your unapologetic truth of becoming Helen. And so in this conversation, if it resonated with anybody out there, don't forget to check out Helen's brilliant new book. We will be releasing the name, which is a secret, very shortly. It's funny, fearless, and full of the kind of wisdom that you'll want to highlight the dog ear and pass on to a friend. And remember, your evolution doesn't have to be graceful or gorgeous, just authentic. And so you can catch this episode on the replay if you missed it, and you can also catch it on Jess TV, Roku, Meta, and the NCG Television Network. And until next time, stay nourished, stay inspired, and keep feeding your chakras.
Namaste.
Namaste, honey.